Good morning. I'm Lindsay Bridges from Charlotte Center for Mindfulness, and I'm glad that you are here. We are going to start this morning with a bit of standing practice. So I invite you to move into a standing posture if that's useful for you. Again, find your way into a mountain pose. Feet are about hips width apart. Knees are soft. And very gently tuck the tailbone that engages your core. And allow an awareness from the top of the head of rooting down, right from the top of the head, as if there was any energy that needed to be released, drained into the earth below. Really feeling this releasing energy moving down through the whole body, right out through the bottoms of the feet into the earth below. Rooting and releasing, connecting with a larger strength. And you can even bring your hands in front of your heart to just offer a couple of nice deep in and out breaths. And from this releasing downward, you might start to notice there's also a natural counterbalance, lifting skyward through the spine, the neck, up and out of the top of the head. And if you wish, on an in-breath, drawing the arms up and out breath, releasing down. Just a couple of these, your own breath, your own pace. Whatever feels good. This movement for you. And releasing and letting go. So for all of these movements, I invite you to explore what kind of movement is actually nourishing to the body, nurturing to the body. We are given such a strong message of no pain, no gain, and strive and make huge effort. Sometimes we don't know how to listen to what feels good in the body. So letting this practice, this time of movement, be an exploration of what feels good. You can start this exploration right with the head and neck. And take your time. Gently move head and neck around in any way that actually feels helpful to your body. Does the body want the movement to be bigger? Does it want the movement to be smaller? So I want you to pause, take a breath in some spot. What is it like to feel into the intention of tending to with care your own body? Allowing the head to come back to the center place. And even exploring what that is. Where does the head naturally float on the top of the spine? What's that place? Then allowing this movement to come into the shoulders. What kind of opening, closing Any kind of movement. What kind of movement is good for your shoulders? Are there spots that it helps to pause, explore a little more deeply? They're tender spots. I don't want you to push so hard. Make sure whatever you do, you balance both sides. A little bit of playfulness come into this. Thinking about how baby kind of has this excitement of joy to understand the ability to move the body. How do we reclaim that natural sense of awe and wonder with our own bodies? And allow that movement to become a little bit larger if you want. Letting it come into the arms and hands. Maybe for you, that will be some backstroke, forward stroke, anything else. Arms, hands, shoulders, head and neck, whatever feels good. And then bringing that down to some stillness and pausing back in your mountain. A couple of nice deep in and out breaths to feel that. Then hands in front of the heart and explore bending and folding at the waist, whatever way that feels good for you. Maybe it is starting with an opening, breathing in, folding down. You might just hang out here. You might explore opening and closing this bending, folding at the waist. Find out what your body wants. Always making sure you're not doing anything to add some strain, over efforting, over pushing. Letting your idea of what it should look like outweigh the listening of what the body actually wants or needs. And when you're ready, coming back up to a standing position, allowing the arms to release, moving back into the mountain pose. Can you feel how the energy is moving in the body in a different way, just from some simple movements? Again, you can open that invitation to release, let go from the top of the head, draining whatever energy needs to be released right into the earth below, through the whole body, out through the bottom to the feet. And feeling into that counterbalance. The body grows a little bit taller, without any efforting. Sense of spaciousness in the body, in the joints. Opening. We're going to do one last movement. I've been told this is called a qigong movement called gathering in the clouds, but not being a qigong teacher or actually student. I just offer this as a movement that feels good and invite you to explore it in whatever way feels good for you. So the feet are a little more than hips width apart. Hands in front of the heart. Taking a breath in. Releasing it out. And the next in breath, scooping the breath in. Out breath, releasing out. your own breath, your own pace. Last one. Release. I was going to finish there, but I'm feeling called to an unwinding. Feet are a little more than hips width apart. It's just that very gentle movement from the hips. Unwinding empty coat sleeves, one side or the other. Slowing this down. Coming back to standing, the mountain pose. Hands are loose at your side or on your heart and your belly, wherever feels comfortable for you. Just taking a moment to pause with some gratitude for your own intention to care for this body, mind, heart. By offering it these simple movements, remembering you can do these very simple movements throughout your day. It's a means of relinquishing, releasing some of the stress that accumulates in our bodies as we move through our days. And coming back to sitting. Taking a moment to find whatever posture best supports your body. Allowing the body to settle into this posture. Noticing wherever the feet are in contact with the floor. The support of whatever you're sitting on, whether chair or bench or cushion, floor. Allowing the sits bones to carry and support the weight. Connecting with the strength of the earth. Allowing a lengthening of the spine. Right up through the body and the top of the head. Notice the breathing in and out. This week I was reminded of an image one of my mindful schools teachers used to use a lot. That is of the strong, regal lion. Lion that is on a rock and able to see all around, and does it with this deeply relaxed wakefulness. What is it like to invite that kind of dignity, respect, willingness to explore this meeting place of deep relaxation and wide awake? Willing to see whatever's here. Taking a moment to drop into the body, mind, and heart and just validate, see, acknowledge the weather inside. No need to change or fix anything. It's from this place of grounded stability, a sense of, it's like this right now. Breathing in, breathing out with this. And if it's comfortable for you, letting the awareness move to the top of the head. And from the top of the head, allow your awareness to drift downward into the forehead and the temples, inviting whatever softening might be needed here. We often now are spending our days leaning forward, looking into computer screens, or leaning forward, looking into the future concerns, all the ways that we hold up this tension right through our face, particularly our eyes, forehead, temples. I'd like to allow some letting go, some releasing. Maybe there are physical muscles that actually relax. Maybe it's just bringing the intention of softening, letting the eyeballs rest in the sockets, the eyelids totally relax, eyebrows, bringing that softening awareness down into the face muscles, the cheeks. If you want to explore a small half smile, this is actually our face and it's most deeply relaxed. Need to force any expression. Sometimes it can be kind of interesting to see what happens when we just allow a very small smile. Notice the nostrils, gentle flaring in and out, and lips. Where's your tongue resting in the mouth? Sometimes we can actually even hold tension without even being aware of it in our tongues. So I'd like to allow the tongue to totally soften. And the jaw. Allowing the awareness to move out onto the scalp, the head, the whole of the head, inside, outside, ears, face. For some people, using the imagery of sending the breath to wherever the awareness is, it's very useful. So if that imagery is useful for you, see what it's like to imagine breathing in and out, not just through the mouth or nose, the whole head, scalp, face. That imagery is just too weird, no problem. Can allow a very soft awareness of breath to be an anchor as you explore face, head, and coming down into the neck. I'd like to be aware of the spaciousness in the neck. We actually are more space than we are matter. The matter of our bodies makes up a very small amount Mostly what's here is wide open space. You feel into wide open space in your neck, head, coming down into the shoulders. In a place we often hold tension right in the muscles in the shoulders. To like to allow any tension here to simply dissolve, release, draining down through the body into the floor below. And it's not so important that the muscles actually relax, as it is that you're bringing the intention, softening, opening, spaciousness, and care to the muscles, however they are. When they're ready to let go and relax, they will. From the shoulders, dropping the awareness down through both arms, the upper arms, the elbows, forearms, wrists, the hands, fingers. Breathing in and out. Maybe even sending the breath from the top of the head right down through the head, face, neck, shoulders, arms, all the way down to the fingertips. And then from the fingertips, releasing the breath back out through the top of the head. Again, if that imagery is useful for you, playing with it is not letting it go. Notice where your hands are resting. Contact. They're on the thighs, the warmth of the contact between hands and thighs. Softening the hands. Exploring where the finger pads rest. A sense of connection. Then back up to the shoulders and coming down through the torso. The lungs filling with breath and releasing. Feel into this natural rhythm of life. Nothing you need to do to make this breath happen. Well, you may be able to manipulate it to a small degree. The in-breath you're breathing right now will be followed by an out-breath, and the out-breath you're letting go of right now will be followed by an in-breath. The body takes care of this. And that amount of controlling is really quite limited. There is this faithfulness to life wired into our breath and body. Allow yourself to be breathed by this rhythm of life. So too with the beat of the heart. Can you actually feel your own heart's beat? In the first moment that it flickered into life while you were still in your mother's womb, to the very last moment of life. This heart beats. It has this energy. Sort of joy of movement to life. down into the belly. Wherever you're exploring in the torso, place that many of us hold emotions. Allow an awareness, not getting caught up in any emotional story of what's here, but an awareness of care. Whatever you meet in the body that's challenging or difficult, allow that meeting of it to open you to a wiser compassion for this being human. Knowing that you're never alone in these difficult things we carry in our bodies. Shared experience by people everywhere. And so our orienting to compassion where we meet it in ourselves allows us to orient with compassion where it is in the world for others. And letting the awareness rest all the way down on the sits bones. Really feeling a downward rooting, a grounding energy. Letting the sits bones hold the whole weight of the body. From the pelvic region, the sits bones coming down through the thighs, the big muscles here. Is there any unconscious clenching of thigh muscles? Often hold tension in parts and muscles of our body that is not necessary, but is rather stress habit. Whenever you meet this, be on the lookout for it. Be curious about it. Learn to open awareness that allows softening in its own time, releasing. Sometimes we have to do it over and over and over, wherever there's a chronic habit with it. And the knees and lower legs. Again, opening up to the spaciousness in the body. Can you feel into the spaciousness of knee joints? Even bones. Bones have this, you think of them as solid, but they're actually quite open, flexible, resilient, full of space. Coming down into the feet. Noticing wherever your feet are resting against the floor and the toes. And then opening the whole field of awareness from the toes to the top of the head. Include the entire body, breathing in and out, whole body breathing. And however this unfolded for you, acknowledge your intention to show up with care, to tend to this body, mind, and heart. Letting yourself be aware of how this intention to be in a healthier relationship with your own body, mind, and heart is what allows you to walk in the world with greater care, greater wisdom, greater compassion, clear, wise action of who and how you want to be in the world. This act of self-care is never selfish. As Parker Palmer says, just good stewardship, the one gift I have to offer the world. Breathing in, breathing out. We are the marrow as well as the face in it. We are tasting this taste. We're tasting the taste this minute of eternity. We are pain and what cures pain both. We are the sweet, cold water and the jar that pours it. Rumi. Thank you. Good to sit with you all this morning. So, if we were in our in person circle, this would be our chance to go around the circle and meet each other. So, I love seeing some greetings already here. And if you want to add anything else, a greeting or a gratitude to the chat box, please do. I want to say good morning to Nancy and Paul and George and Clara and Maureen. I'm glad that you are all here. I'm just gonna put an announcement in right now. I don't know why this didn't occur to me earlier, but it finally just occurred to me now. We can move these community groups onto a Zoom platform for our whole sessions. And that way we can be in greater connection with each other. Getting a little tired of looking at me on the screen. I would much prefer to see all of your beautiful faces. So I maybe even by next week am going to have a Zoom link available, and at 9:30 Wednesday morning, instead of coming to YouTube, you will come and join on Zoom. I hope this works for you all, but I really miss the stronger sense of community. And having participated in a bunch of Zoom now, it is possible with Zoom, and we're going to be in this format for a while. So we need to strengthen our community connectivity. And I'm just going to add Emily, grateful for the calming pause. Isn't that lovely and so useful and helpful when we can catch whatever storm we might be generating or storm we might be experiencing, and find this ability to pause, reground, recenter. Grateful for this too. One last announcement. I have a new introduction to mindfulness class. It's going to start next Wednesday evening, 6 to 7:15. So if you would like to either join or share that information with anyone that you think it might be useful. It's just a very short course, 4 weeks, 1 hour, 15 minutes, to get some basic starting place. If you haven't done a class with me or with any of us at Charlotte Center for Mindfulness, I strongly recommend considering this because there's a lot that we do in the class that's hard to get in these community drop-in sessions. So it's a great way to get a stronger foundation to begin. So George, have to go. Wish peace and blessings for all. Thank you, George. So this morning is likely our last session with the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And to start, I actually want to share a quote from mindfulness teacher Christina Feldman. She's someone I deeply appreciate. And this quote comes from her speaking to the strength of joy and its relationship to mindfulness. So, what she says, one of the functions of mindfulness is to sever the link between perception and emotional history. How often we see the moment through the eyes of the past, through how we've seen something before, how we've experienced something before, or heard something before. And that perception often means that we relive the past in the present. In doing so, it's very challenging for us to see anything at all anew, to see anything at all freshly. So, the cultivation of mindfulness and joyfulness is a cultivation of the capacity to see anew in each moment, to learn from, to be touched by, to be able to tremble in the face of the lovely. Just I'm pausing and like feeling that sentence. So, the cultivation of mindfulness and joyfulness is a cultivation of the capacity to see anew in each moment, to learn from, to be touched by, to be able to tremble in the face of the lovely. It's so easy to look at our world and only be caught up in the challenging and the difficulty and miss that there is a lot of remarkable beauty happening in our world. And be able to open our eyes and take that in, that's a gift. So for me, this quote points to the power of these four agreements that we've been looking at and mindfulness, and how ultimately all of these are a path of learning to see things anew in a way that leads us to the strength of joy. Our perception in any given moment, as she's saying, is highly colored by our emotional history, meaning that whatever I make out of this moment right now is actually not so much about what's present in this moment now, but rather whatever emotional baggage I'm lugging forward from the past and I'm putting onto the moment now. If I have a habit of self judgment, and I happen to make a mistake, even a small mistake, that emotional habit of self judgment can rear its head up and crash me down in the moment of any kind of mistake, even a small mistake. And so, even if the mistake is small, the impact of the judgment can actually be quite enormous. If I have a habit of letting fear of the future run wild in me, then any little bit of news I read or see, I'm likely to let that emotional history habit, take over my understanding of that bit of news and spiral me into some sort of anxiety storm. It's not really about the news. It's not really about what's present in the moment. It's about my emotional history of reacting in a certain way. So when Christina Feldman is saying, what Christina Feldman is saying is that when we practice mindfulness, we learn to tease apart this entanglement in a way that actually brings freedom. We start to be able to see the present moment free of all of that emotional baggage. That's seeing it anew. That's seeing the moment fresh. Emotional baggage can be still triggered, but in this lens of mindfulness, we're not allowing that emotional baggage to be the truth of the moment. Rather, there's the seeing the moment fresh and recognizing the baggage as some sort of vestigial lingering of an old wound that just needs care. And to find this kind of freedom and support for ourselves in doing this, we need strong practice. That's what we're doing with this mindfulness, heartfulness practice, and that's what the four agreements are all about. A powerful set of tools that help us do this work of untangling, or I love the way Feldman says it, of severing the ties. So these four agreements, they actually are working directly with that entangled emotional history and thereby helping free us to be more present in a joyful way that allows a wise action in our world. So we're going to go over these four agreements very briefly one last time. And I realize I haven't named the fourth one, always do your best. That's the one that ties them all together. So the first one, be impeccable with your word. This means, as Ruiz describes it, to use our energy in the direction of truth and love. That's a powerful statement, a powerful intention, to use our energy in the direction of truth and love. We do this for ourselves and each other. It means I won't let that part of my mind that can be laceratingly brutal to myself or others to gain hold. It means I won't let that part of my mind that can try to take pleasure or try to prop up my self-esteem by putting someone else down, by judging others. I won't let that part of my mind gain hold either. I'm making an agreement to treat myself and others with care, putting my energy into the direction of truth and love. The truth part is important here because it means I'm willing to look at the hard truths about my own behavior, the hard truths about others, and always deal with these hard truths from that direction of love and respect. Second, don't take anything personally. For me, this means I am always willing to look into the larger conditions of our interrelated interbeing. Again, this helps me unhook from that cruel internal judge that can get so out of control against me or others. And when I combine this with being impeccable with my word, I'm doing this not to take myself off the hook. I'm doing this so that I have greater energy and action in the direction of truth and love in the world. Third, don't make assumptions. Here's what Ruiz says about it. We have the tendency to make assumptions about everything. The problem with making assumptions is that we believe they are the truth. We could swear they are real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally. We blame them and react by sending them emotional poison with our word. That is why whenever we make assumptions, we're asking for problems. We make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating a whole big drama for nothing. We also make assumptions about ourselves and use that as a means of sending emotional poison to ourselves as well. Mindfulness allows us in any moment to step out of this reactive mind, to begin to question, what kind of stories am I telling myself are true about this moment? What kind of stories, what kind of thoughts am I buying into, which actually are not helpful, which are about a personally flawed me or a personally flawed someone else that are not allowing me to see the moment clearly. So the fourth, always do your best. This is always do your best to bring wise, compassionate care to every moment. So that doesn't mean always do your best to make sure you are reaching that unattainable perfectionist standard. That's not what it's about. It's about recognizing what's present in this moment now, just as it is, and then finding, as best as I can, whatever wise, compassionate action is possible in this moment now, in light of the conditions that are present, just as they are. So if I'm healthy, I'm well, I'm feeling strong, that action will look one way. If I'm sick or struggling, that action's going to look totally differently. Always do your best is a practice that ties together all of these agreements in a way that teaches us to deeply honor this being human, our flawed humanness. So it's about learning to do our best with ourselves just as we are in this moment now, not with how we think we should be instead. I will never always do it right. But having this as my intention, having my intention to do my best in the direction of truth and love with respect for myself and others, I I will inevitably, I am inevitably getting better and better and better at doing this. Everyone that keeps showing up in mindfulness in some way or another, you know this for yourself. There's some reason you keep at this. If you weren't able to feel some sort of wise, strong softening that is happening with this practice, you wouldn't be doing it. So, this is the practice that leads us to the place where joy starts to get in. This place where joy starts to naturally unfold in our life. So, as I see it, all of these are a beautiful invitation to take delight in interacting with the world, with myself, with others in a way that naturally feels good, that naturally feels better than being caught in all of that emotional baggage and entangled in some sort of storm of past making, not present moment. By practicing these agreements and breaking free from my own past habits, all of us, we have a powerful means to see wonder in the world in a totally new and fresh way. And this is a way that frees us to live a life with wisdom, compassion, and frankly, with joy. So let's pause for a moment. And in this moment, check what's here right now for you. What is this moment like? Without judgment, kind of thoughts are going through the mind, emotions present in the body sensations. And then, if you were to consider these four agreements, be impeccable with your word. That means using your energy in the direction of truth and love. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best as a practice of orienting to this moment just as it is. What one of those agreements might be relevant for supporting you in meeting this moment with a little more clarity, a little more compassion, a little more wisdom. What happens when you open the possibility of any of those agreements to this moment right now? Thank you. Uh, and again, I forgot to get the Zoom link, so let me do that right now. Apologize, take me just a moment. There are all these little steps to opening up our YouTube live streams. And so, what I should do is like write down a reminder checklist. But maybe next week is going to be a whole lot easier since we will be on Zoom together in the first place. So, here's the Zoom link for this morning. And I will put that, again, last night I had somebody who couldn't get it off the chat box. So I will put it in the description box. As soon as I close this, I'll put it in and you'll need to refresh your page to get it there if you want. Our Zoom meetings have been really sweet. Just a nice way to kind of connect, to see each other, and do just a little bit of practice sharing. Would love to have you. For next week, Lakshmi is actually going to help me tomorrow come up with a plan for how, or actually on Friday, for how to best do this. But chances are that I'm just going to send out some group email that has the link. If you don't get it, please do email me. Give me some time to get it organized, but then email me if you need the link. And I really look forward to kind of the next stage of our community gatherings online. So beautiful being with you all in this format, and I look forward next week to actually being able to see some of your faces. And let's just sit for a moment. So, using that pause right now, offering the breath in and out. Finding some way to open in the direction of truth and love, with compassion and care for your own self in this moment. Really resourcing your own body, mind, and heart with this good will, good intention. And then taking a moment to send this goodwill, this good intention, this compassionate opening of heart outward to all beings everywhere. May the fruits of our practice benefit everyone everywhere. May our practice be of service to this world. Thank you, and hope to see you in the Zoom room in just a moment, or if you're peeling off, I hope you have a beautiful day.